Hey everyone, welcome to our deep dive all about confidence.
Yeah,
You're
confidence.
diving into this awesome article from the Calm blog called How to Gain Confidence, Proven Tips for Developing and Building Self-Assurance.
Great article.
I'm really excited to break this down with you and see what we can, actually use in our own lives.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that really stood out to me from the get-go is how much the article talks about the real-world benefits of being confident. It's not just some fluffy feel-good stuff.
Right. Totally. Like when I think about confidence, I think about all the amazing things it can help us achieve, like, making healthier choices, crushing it at work, having better relationships.
Exactly. It's like confidence kind of unlocks all these different areas of our lives. And the article even links it to things like resilience and happiness.
Which is huge. And it makes total sense, right? When you feel good about yourself, you're more likely to take risks, go after what you want, and just generally create a more fulfilling life.
For sure. But then the question becomes, how do we actually build that confidence? Especially if we're not exactly feeling like, a superhero every day.
Right. It's like, okay, that all sounds amazing, but where do I even begin?
Well, the article dives into the specific traits of confident individuals. And it's not about being like some super extroverted person who never doubts themselves. It's more about developing certain qualities over time.
Okay, so what kind of qualities are we talking about? Give us the inside scoop.
One of the first things they mention is the willingness to take risks. Confident people aren't afraid to step outside of their comfort zones and try new things. They know that even if they fail, they'll learn something valuable from the experience.
That makes sense. It's like they're not letting fear hold them back from pursuing their goals.
Exactly. And they also tend to be pretty optimistic. They focus on the positive and believe in their ability to overcome challenges.
Oh, I love that. Like instead of getting bogged down by negativity, they're choosing to see the good in every situation.
Yeah. And another interesting trait is that they're good at accepting compliments. They recognize their own worth and don't feel the need to downplay their accomplishments.
You know what? I've actually been working on that one myself. I used to be so quick to brush off compliments or make excuses for my successes, but I'm realizing that it's actually a form of self-sabotage.
Totally. It's like we're telling ourselves that we don't deserve to be recognized or praised, and that can really undermine our confidence in the long run.
So it's about owning our awesomeness, right? Accepting that we have strengths and talents and allowing ourselves to be celebrated for them.
Exactly. And speaking of owning our awesomeness, confident people are also decisive. They trust their gut and make choices without second-guessing themselves too much.
Because they've done the work, right? They've gotten to know themselves and their values, so they're able to make decisions that align with their goals and priorities.
For sure. And they're also good at setting boundaries. They know their limits and aren't afraid to say no to things that don't serve them or that drain their energy.
Ooh, boundaries. That's a big one. I think a lot of us struggle with that, especially women,
Right. We're often conditioned to be people pleasers and to put everyone else's needs before our own.
which can lead to burnout, resentment, and a whole lot of self-doubt.
Exactly. But confident people recognize that it's okay to prioritize their own well-being and to protect their energy.
And that by doing so, they're actually able to show up more fully for the people and things that matter most to them.
Exactly. And they're also authentic. They embrace their uniqueness and don't try to be someone they're not.
I love that. It's like they're comfortable in their own skin and they radiate that confidence outward.
And last but not least, they're good listeners. They're genuinely interested in other people and they're present in conversations.
Wow. I never thought of being a good listener as a sign of confidence.
It's interesting, right? But when you think about it, it makes sense. When you're secure in yourself, you don't feel the need to dominate the conversation or to prove your worth. You're able to truly listen and learn from others.
That's such a powerful insight. Okay, so we've talked about the traits of confident people. But what about those of us who are, well, not quite there yet? How do we recognize if our confidence needs a little boost?
The article highlights 7 signs of low confidence. And I think we've all experienced at least a few of these at some point in our lives.
Oh, definitely. I know I've been guilty of a few of these myself. Spill the tea. What are the signs?
Well, first and foremost, excessive worrying about what other people think is a major red flag.
Ooh, that one hits close to home. I'm a recovering people pleaser, so I've definitely spent way too much time stressing about what others think of me.
I think a lot of us can relate to that. But when we're constantly seeking validation from others, it erodes our own sense of self-worth.
And it keeps us from truly being ourselves, right? We're so focused on fitting in and meeting everyone else's expectations that we lose sight of who we are and what we want.
Exactly. And then, of course, there's anxiety, which can manifest in all sorts of ways, from physical symptoms to negative thought patterns.
Yeah, anxiety can be a real confidence killer. It's like this constant voice in your head whispering doubts and fears.
And it can keep us from taking risks, pursuing our goals, and living our lives to the fullest.
Absolutely. And then there's avoiding eye contact. I know when I'm feeling insecure, I tend to look down or away from people.
It's almost like we're afraid to be seen, right? Like we're trying to make ourselves small and invisible.
And that just reinforces those feelings of insecurity. And then there's shying away from challenges, which can show up in all sorts of areas of our lives, from our careers to our relationships.
It's like we're playing it safe all the time, afraid to step outside of our comfort zones.
And we miss out on so many opportunities for growth and learning.
And let's not forget about the negative self-talk. That inner critic can be relentless.
Oh, tell me about it. Mine has a whole playlist of self-defeating thoughts on repeat. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I'm going to fail. It's exhausting.
It really is. And those negative thought patterns can become self-fulfilling prophecies if we're not careful.
Because we start to believe those negative stories we're telling ourselves. And then there's overthinking, which can lead to analysis paralysis and keep us stuck in a cycle of doubt and indecision.
It's like we're spinning our wheels, constantly analyzing every possible outcome, but never actually taking action.
And then, of course, there's the fear of failure, which can be so paralyzing. It can keep us from pursuing our dreams, taking risks, and putting ourselves out there.
And it's ironic because failure is often the best teacher. It's through our mistakes and setbacks that we learn and grow the most.
So true. But when we're trapped in that fear of failure, we miss out on all those valuable lessons.
Okay, so we've talked about the traits of confident people and the signs of low confidence. But the million-dollar question is, how do we actually start building genuine, lasting confidence?
Right. Because we all want to feel that sense of self-assurance, that belief in ourselves and our abilities.
And that's where the article gets really interesting. It offers 13 practical tips for boosting confidence. And what's great is that they're not all about grand gestures or radical transformations. Some of them are surprisingly simple, everyday things that we can all incorporate into our lives.
Give us the good stuff. Tell us about these tips.
Well, one of the foundational tips is self-care. And I'm not talking about spa days or fancy vacations, although those can be nice too. It's about the basic things. Getting enough sleep, eating nourishing foods, moving your body regularly.
Like taking care of our physical and mental health.
Exactly. These seemingly small actions can have a huge impact on our overall well-being, which in turn influences our confidence.
It's like if you're running on fumes and neglecting your basic needs, it's going to be much harder to feel confident and capable.
Exactly. It's about creating a solid foundation for yourself so you can show up as your best self. And then there's the whole idea of keeping promises, which might seem a little out of place at first glance.
Yeah, how does keeping promises tie into confidence? I'm intrigued.
It's all about building trust in yourself. Every time you follow through on a commitment, even a small one, you reinforce the belief that you're reliable and capable.
It's like proving to yourself that you're someone you can count on.
Exactly. And that builds self-respect, which is a key ingredient in confidence.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And what about physical activity? I know the article mentioned that as a confidence booster.
Yeah, and I think this is where a lot of people get tripped up. They think they have to become marathon runners or hit the gym 5 days a week to see any benefit.
Yeah, it can feel intimidating, right? Like, oh, I have to do all these intense workouts to feel good about myself.
Totally. But the truth is, any movement is better than no movement. The key is to find activities you enjoy and that fit into your lifestyle.
So it could be as simple as going for a walk in nature, taking a dance class, or doing some yoga in your living room.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be about burning calories or achieving some fitness goal. It's about moving your body, releasing endorphins, and connecting with yourself.
And when you feel good physically, you tend to feel more confident mentally. It's like this positive feedback loop.
Exactly. And speaking of feeling good, the article also talks about the importance of celebrating small wins.
I love that. It's so easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life and forget to acknowledge our accomplishments, especially the small ones.
Right. We're so focused on those big goals that we often overlook the progress we're making along the way.
Right.
But those small wins are important. They give us a sense of accomplishment and keep us motivated.
It's like those little dopamine hits that remind us that we're moving in the right direction. And then there's the idea of aligning with our values.
Ah, yes, values. This is such a crucial aspect of confidence.
Because when our actions align with our values, there's a sense of integrity and authenticity that shines through.
Exactly. It's like our inner compass is guiding us in the right direction. And when we're living in alignment with our values, we naturally feel more confident and fulfilled.
It's like everything just clicks into place.
Exactly. And I think that's a great place to pause for now.
I know, we've covered so much already, and I'm already feeling inspired to step up my confidence game.
Me too. But we've only just scratched the surface. In the next part of our deep dive, we'll explore some of the more challenging aspects of building confidence, like setting boundaries and overcoming the fear of failure.
Ooh, I can't wait. So stay tuned for part 2, where we'll continue our exploration of the fascinating world of confidence and how to make it a part of your everyday life.
Welcome back to our deep dive on confidence.
Part 2.
We're picking up where we left off.
Yeah, with even more practical tips.
Exactly. So, you know how we were talking about how important self-awareness is for building confidence?
Oh, yeah, like knowing your value and your strengths and stuff.
Exactly. Well, one specific area where self-awareness plays a crucial role is in acknowledging our achievements.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A lot of us, tend to downplay our accomplishments or brush them off like they're no big deal.
Oh, totally. I used to do that all the time, like I was afraid to take credit for my successes.
But the article really emphasizes how important it is to give ourselves credit where credit is due.
Right. It's not about bragging or seeking validation from others. It's about recognizing our own efforts and appreciating how far we've come.
Exactly. It's
Yep.
about building that internal sense of pride and accomplishment.
And that can really boost our confidence, right?
Absolutely. Okay, so shifting gears a bit, let's talk about the power of positive self-talk.
Oh, yeah. Positive self-talk.
Because let's face it, we all have that inner critic who loves to chime in with doubts and negativity.
Tell me about it. Mine's been working overtime lately.
But the good news is we can actually rewire our brains to be more positive and supportive.
Really? How do we do that?
Well, there's a concept called neuroplasticity.
And neuroplasticity.
Yeah, it's basically the brain's ability to change and adapt.
So, like, our brains aren't set in stone.
Exactly. We can create new neural pathways by consistently engaging in positive self-talk.
So it's like we're training our brains to focus on the good, on our strengths and capabilities.
Precisely. It's about consciously choosing to replace those self-defeating thoughts with affirmations and empowering statements.
Okay, so instead of saying, I can't do this, I should say, I'm capable of learning and growing.
Exactly. And it might feel a little awkward at first, like you're just talking to yourself.
Oh, for sure. I've definitely had those moments where I'm like, am I really doing this?
But with practice, it becomes more natural.
It's like anything else, right? The more you do it, the easier it gets.
Exactly. And the article even suggests incorporating things like gratitude practices into our daily routine.
Gratitude, like just being thankful for things.
Yeah, it's about shifting our focus to the positive, appreciating the good in our lives.
That's a great idea. I've heard that gratitude can really make a difference in our overall mood and outlook.
It can. And starting your day with a gratitude practice can set a more confident tone for the day ahead.
That's interesting. I might have to try that.
Okay, so moving on to another tip that might seem a little counterintuitive.
Counterintuitive? Like, what do you mean?
Well, it's about trying new things.
Trying new things.
Yeah. I know, when we're feeling low on confidence, the last thing we want to do is step outside our comfort zone.
Right. Like, why would I want to do something that makes me feel uncomfortable or even scared?
It's understandable, but the article argues that trying new things, even if they seem a little scary, can actually boost our confidence.
Really? How so?
It's about challenging our perceptions of ourselves, expanding our sense of what we're capable of.
So it's like proving to ourselves that we're more resilient and adaptable than we thought.
Exactly. And even if we don't succeed right away, the act of trying something new shows courage and a willingness to grow.
So it's the effort that counts, not
No.
necessarily the outcome.
Precisely. Now let's shift to another tip that's super important, especially when it comes to feeling confident in our relationships. Surrounding ourselves with supportive people.
Oh, yeah, your tribe. The people who lift you up and cheer you on.
Exactly. Because our social circle can have a huge impact on our self-perception and our confidence levels.
I've definitely noticed that, like, when I'm around positive, supportive people, I feel so much more confident and capable.
Right. It's like they reflect back to us our own strengths and potential.
And when we're around people who are constantly criticizing or putting us down, it can really chip away at our self-esteem.
Absolutely. And it's not about surrounding ourselves with yes people or avoiding all conflict. It's about being mindful of the company we keep and seeking out relationships that nourish our spirits and encourage our growth.
It's about creating an environment where we feel safe to be ourselves, to take risks, and to embrace challenges without fear of judgment.
Exactly. Now, let's dive into one of those areas that could be tough, but that's so important for maintaining healthy boundaries and feeling confident in our choices. Learning to say no.
Ooh, saying no. That's a hard one for a lot of people, myself included.
It is. It's so easy to get caught up in people-pleasing, wanting to make everyone happy.
Right. Like, we don't want to let anyone down or disappoint anyone.
But when we're constantly overcommitting ourselves and saying yes to things that we don't really have time for or that don't align with our priorities, it can actually backfire.
Oh, yeah. We end up feeling resentful, overwhelmed, and ultimately less confident in our ability to manage our own lives.
Exactly. And that's why setting boundaries is so
And
important.
injuries.
Yeah, like knowing our limits and being able to communicate them clearly and assertively.
That makes sense. So saying no is actually a way of honoring ourselves and our needs.
Exactly. It's not about being selfish or uncaring. It's about respecting our own time and energy.
Okay, so moving on to another tip that might seem a little superficial at first.
Superficial, what do you mean?
Well, it's about dressing for confidence.
Dressing for confidence. Ah, yes. I know it might sound a little silly, but hear me out.
Okay, I'm listening.
Because there's actually a powerful connection between our inner and outer worlds.
Like, how we dress can affect how we feel about ourselves.
Exactly. When we dress in a way that makes us feel good, it can instantly boost our mood and give us that extra bit of confidence to face the day.
Oh, I totally agree. I've definitely noticed that, like, if I'm wearing an outfit that I feel good in, I just carry myself differently.
It's about aligning your external presentation with your internal state, like projecting that confidence outward.
And it's not about following trends or trying to impress anyone else. It's about finding clothes that make you feel comfortable, confident, and authentically you.
Exactly. It's about expressing your unique personality and style through your clothing choices.
Okay, as we're wrapping up this part of our deep dive, I'm noticing a theme here.
A theme. What's that?
It's like building confidence isn't just about some magical transformation. It's about all these small, consistent actions that we take each day.
It's a journey, not a destination, right?
Exactly. And it requires patience, self-compassion, and a willingness to embrace the ups and downs along the way.
And sometimes it requires us to step outside our comfort zones, challenge our limiting beliefs, and surround ourselves with people who believe in us.
Absolutely. So much good stuff here. I can't wait to see what else we unpack in the final part for deep dive.
Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll delve into the remaining confidence-boosting tips and discuss how to create a personalized plan for building unshakable self-assurance.
Okay, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into confidence.
Part 3.
And I'm feeling so pumped after everything we've talked about so far.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we?
I mean, from the surprising benefits of feeling confident to, like, those sneaky signs of low
And
self-esteem.
all those awesome strategies for boosting our self-assurance, yeah.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's talk about how to create a personalized plan for building confidence.
Okay, a personalized plan.
Because, like we've been saying, there's no one-size-fits-all approach, right?
It's about finding what works for you.
Exactly. So how do we even begin to, like, create this personalized plan?
Well, I think the first step is to, really take stock of where you're at.
Like, do a self-assessment.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
what are your strengths? What are your values?
Right.
What are some areas where you might need a little boost?
Okay, so it's about, like, getting to know yourself better.
Exactly. And once you have a good understanding of your starting point, then you can start to identify the strategies that resonate with you.
Like, which of those tips we've been talking about really speak to you?
Exactly. And it's also about being realistic,
Oh, yeah.
Like, you don't have to try to do everything at once.
Right. Small steps.
Choose 1 or 2 habits you want to cultivate.
Okay, yeah, I like that. Like, maybe I start with that gratitude practice we were talking about.
Perfect. Or maybe you set a goal to, try one new thing each week.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So it's about, building momentum, creating those positive feedback loops.
Like those little dopamine hits we were talking about.
Exactly. And remember, setbacks are inevitable.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm expecting some bumps in the road.
And that's okay. It's all part of the process.
So it's not about being perfect, it's about learning and growing from those experiences.
Exactly. And it's about celebrating your progress along the way, too.
Don't forget to celebrate.
Yes. Acknowledge those wins no matter how small.
I'm going to make a confetti cannon.
Uh-huh. That's the spirit.
Okay, so I think the Calm blog article summed it up perfectly with this one question.
Ooh, which one is that?
Considering all the amazing benefits of confidence,
Mm-hmm.
what smart step can you take today to start building your self-assurance?
I love that. It's like a call to action, right?
It is.
Yeah.
So what will your first step be?
Hmm. That's a good question.
It could be anything, right?
Yeah. Like maybe starting that gratitude journal or
Hmm.
setting a boundary with a friend or colleague.
Or finally wearing that outfit that makes you feel like $1,000,000.
Exactly. Whatever it is, take that step.
Even if it's a tiny one.
It all adds up.
After this deep dive, I'm feeling so inspired to keep exploring these ideas and to keep practicing these strategies.
Me too. Confidence is such a powerful thing.
It really is. And it's something that we can all cultivate and strengthen over time.
Absolutely.
So thank you for joining us on this journey of self-discovery.
Yes, thanks for being here.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights and that you're feeling empowered to step into your most confident self.
We believe in you.
Until next time, keep shining bright.